How many of you have computers at home? How many of you feel it's a headache maintaining the computer? Don't worry about your teachers here. It's between us. How many of you feel it's a headache managing your computer? Like upgrade, virus, periodically updating it becomes obsolete equipment. If none of you feel that, then I think either your dads are paying for this particular college or they're paying for your computer. You should care about it, because I'll tell you this. I find computers becoming obsolete every 2 years, 2 to 3 years. And then after that it becomes a nightmare trying to keep them updated. And so think of it this way. If your computer at home was all of a sudden not being at your home, all that you really needed was a screen on the wall which was connected to the internet, and at any time that you wanted you were able to get your service. Then somebody is then providing you a platform or your office your home desktop on the screen. Or even if you have a smart TV today, your smart TV can essentially operate at that particular monitor, and you could be doing anything that you were normally doing on a desktop on a smart TV. There are other things that you will possibly need to have, like a keyboard or a handheld mouse and those kind of things, but otherwise look at it that way in terms of platform as a service, where platform can be provided at the back end. They are managing the upgrade of the platform and everything. They are providing you the platform to you to basically manage it. Infrastructure, very similar to this, but then it goes to the next levels where offices are looking for more network infrastructure, server infrastructure, storage infrastructure, all of which essentially come to the next level, right? So that is what you need. And this platform as a service can also be taken to a different level. So let's say futuristic, some of you MCA students get together and you say you want to all of a sudden start a software development shop. You're going, as soon as you go out of college, you're not going to have too much money, right? You're going to be either paying off your loans or you're looking for your job, at which point you want to launch a service. However, what you really want, you can't invest in a lot of the infrastructure or platform. At that point, you can subscribe to an organization and say, you provide me the platform, my people will develop it, and we will provide that as a service. Any questions? What is cloud computing? Distributed pool of virtualized computing resources and storage facilities, multi-tenant or shared architecture, instantaneous access to perpetually available resources, accessible via internet, automatically scaled to accommodate fluctuating demand, consumption-based billing, customer control and self-service, direct use of application, and standardized IT capability. So why is cloud computing so important right now? I need a more interactive session there. I need more interaction with the students. Why is cloud computing very important today?
Because more and more different types of devices are developed, and we need all those things that we are doing on computers on those devices.
Okay, that's a good point. Any other point? What is that one thing that has really developed significantly which is making cloud computing?
Paper usage.
Paper usage is a concept which you can apply. How many of you have internet connection? There you go. Internet connection and the availability of internet connection makes it that much more easier for cloud computing to be available in other places. Today, if you really look at last mile connectivity, most of you would either have a data card or a photon card or one of those, have a broadband line, and depending on that you can actually, so that is one of the things. In terms of communication infrastructure is significantly developed, and also the fact that if you really look at the mobile devices that all of us carry, they are very powerful in terms of what they can do. Yeah? So what you're really looking at is demand drivers of scalability, light assets, people want to pay lesser, and your technology and process, technology maturity, communication infrastructure, which is what I was talking about, networks, technology maturity where applications can continue to be provided, then IT standardization. Traditional IT shop where you have network, premises, hardware, software, labor, overhead. Labor is all the people. Does everybody agree that this is a traditional IT shop? So now look at all of a sudden what you're doing when you're moving to cloud. You're reducing network is the same, services, instead of premises you're moving to services, custom business requirements, risk and compliance and other overhead. So we are doing a significant reduction, and if you really look at it, I think the challenge that really comes in that I was talking about previously is risk and compliance. Today if I know this is my laptop, I know it has a hard disk, it has my information, right? I know that as long as I don't give a password to somebody else, then my information is protected. Yeah. Now let's take the same information, put it on the cloud, or put it somewhere where I can't touch and feel it. There are a lot of people for whom it gives discomfort in terms of what is happening to my data, whether it is in terms of security or privacy of the data. So those are challenges. So today look at a bank. Today, how many of you do online banking? Okay. If you go to a bank tomorrow and say, I would like to know where my data is residing, and if they can't really tell you where your data is residing and how are they managing it, wouldn't that give you discomfort in terms of the banking infrastructure? So same way, if you really look at some of the large banks, what they're doing is, that is one of the reasons in terms of adoption, some of the larger organizations are a little slow, and the reason that they do it is they also want to basically manage the risk and compliance aspects of cloud. There are a lot of benefits in moving to cloud, but there are at the same time lots of risks in moving into cloud. And the way you manage that effectively and get it optimized, so that is what is important. At the same time, you go to an organization which did not have any access to IT infrastructure, and you give them an option for cloud. They will take it, because essentially now to them, previously they were never doing anything on computer, they were never doing anything online. So let's take a classic example. If you go out here in Rohini, there are so many shops or mom and pop stores. There are real estate agents, there are other services that are being provided. Let's say a group of MCA students were to provide some services for them, right? To say all of a sudden I'm going to take a real estate infrastructure. Today what you do is you do it by phone, and now I'm going to allow you and your end customer to be able to access your information on the net, and so that you can have a wider reach. Previously what he was covering is maybe 10 kilometers, now you can cover 100 kilometers, and you can provide these services even to global and other people. Then you look at all of a sudden this person saying, I don't have to spend anything, all I have to do is a monthly rent, I is possibly willing to buy that service. So that is where I think innovation really comes. As you look at cloud adoption in this country is going to rapidly go up as more and more people like you are willing to do innovation. If you innovate, provide a service on top of a cloud platform, package it in the right way and provide it as a service, there will be enough customers who will come and buy. So a couple of key drivers, I think we've already talked about drivers. Let's go to the, if you really look at cloud computer consumers and business, rapidly increasing. I also have other data points which is going all the way to 2020, and the growth for cloud computing is exponential in terms of where both the India market and the global market are looking at it. It's just exponential in the way it is growing. can very quickly switch to some statistics which may be of interest to the team here. Look at the numbers. Deloitte and NASSCOM did a study of Indian players. For those of you who would like to be speaking in the back, you can either leave the room. Yeah. This is the kind of cloud services share that you have. $650 billion. This is something that if you guys embrace, and if you look at this area as a premium sector to get into, as you look at opportunities for work and opportunities for growth, these are areas that you can possibly get into, but you have to move from where you are from an MCA perspective, become more knowledgeable on a lot of areas, get that opportunity and be able to drive. Because if you really look at it, look at infrastructure as a service, $150 billion. Software as a service, platform as a service, each one of them has significant. So if you look at a consulting BPO SI services, they are looking at people like you who can come and be able to enable those services. They may do the innovation, but it is for you people to go out there and be able to help them develop. So all of a sudden you are not people who are just being looked to do just software development. It may be integration, it may be developing new platforms, it may be developing new solutions for these providers who are trying to go after this particular market. And this essentially, if you really look at it, 18 billion alone in the domestic market, but don't forget that the large IT players all sit here in India. All of their cloud services and everything are being provided from India. So the real pile that they are really going after is this. If the market is moving this way, it is for each one of you to essentially gear up to that, because that's where you make yourself more marketable and knowledgeable about the subject and the topic. Because if you go out there and if I get a response like what I got first in terms of cloud, definition of cloud, I will be open and candid to you guys. I will not hire any of you guys if that's the kind of response I get. There are few people that I got responses from who are at least making an attempt to make and understand it. Those are the people who will possibly stand out. So each one of you has to understand. You heard about cloud, you possibly spend 40 hours on Facebook every week, but you don't spend enough time researching and understanding. So I think that is very, very important, because there's a market out there for your skill set. It's about how you basically align yourself and go after the market. Okay. Coming back to what I was talking about, there are different kinds of cloud. One is on-premise, where people are just doing virtualization and they're keeping it within their environment. The next set of clients, where I was talking about the larger banks who are a little averse, risk averse, who do not want to completely put it on the public domain, will go for a private kind of a operation. A private is where you are using your computing resources. For example, let's say take ICICI Bank. Instead of having branch operations and infrastructure in each one of their locations, all of a sudden, let's say they consolidate all of their infrastructure in a centralized data center, and then they're providing the computing services to each one of these locations. Look at the headache that they all of a sudden. They don't need local IT people. Everything is becoming centralized. They don't need to manage and maintain those local infrastructure, licensing issues, and they're able to centrally manage it. They could move to this kind of a model, private kind of a model. Now look at what I was talking about, going to a real estate player who all of a sudden doesn't have that. He doesn't really care about the security, privacy of his data. He just wants to get there. He possibly could go to a public kind of an environment. Because The reason he would possibly go is, let's say you develop a software and you want to provide it to him as a service. He's saying that, oh, you're going to provide it to multiple realtors, so great. You will keep it updated for me. You will bring all the leading practices and best practices, and I'm only paying you a subscription. I'm just using it as a service, and my information is segmented in that. These are the opportunities: increase flexibility and agility, reduce the amount of IT capital spending. Where I talked about CapEx and OpEx, that is the same thing about subscriptions. And then the last one is reallocation of staff resources. Top threats to cloud computing: data loss or leakage, abuse and nefarious use of cloud computing, insecure interfaces and APIs, malicious insiders, shared technology issues, account to service hijacking, unknown risk profile. An area which all of you should possibly look at, which is gaining significant dominance, is information security. Yeah? Information security, most of you with the kind of aptitude that you have for computers, applications, there are areas related to vulnerability management, VAPT and all things. Those are the areas that cover all of these elements. Okay? And there's a national information security policy which talks about creating a cyber workforce of about 500,000 people, where they're really trying to look for people who can develop skill sets in that area, because futuristic wars are not going to be fought on the war front. Wars are going to be fought on the computer, right? It's about our economy and it's about other things. So that is where, if you really look at security risks in cloud computing, again, data protection, lock-in, isolation, failure, insecure running. If tomorrow Facebook is not available for a week, how many of you will go into a depression? If Facebook is not available, Gmail is not available, I think that's cutting your critical lifeline, right? Social lifeline, yeah, right? That's right. And social lifeline is as important, and that's one of the things that you have to really look at, because if our economic lifeline is cut, and that is where this particular area is significantly gaining dominance. Top IT cloud concerns: security, control, performance, support, vendor lock-in. Security we talked about. Control, how do you manage, because the data is all of a sudden somewhere else. Performance, can the provider provide you the same performance that you otherwise get, because all of a sudden you are depending on the internet bandwidth. The kind of support that you will get, what are the kinds of SLAs, service level that they're going to provide. Vendor lock-in. So tomorrow if you lock in, sign up with a provider and you're developing a platform with them, and they're not providing you the right service, would you be able to take all of that and move? Do you own that software that you're developing? Do you have rights to that information? Or are you giving away those particular rights and intellectual property, right? So those are things that you have to be thinking about. Speed to activate new services of capacity. This is essentially, if you want to rapidly scale up your application, or making it available to different people. For example, let's say tomorrow you launch in Delhi, tomorrow, the day after you want it all of North, then South, then you have to have a service provider who can also appropriately scale. Configurability, in terms of the flexibility of configuration of the cloud software and how you are going to be able to manage it. These are all global laws which apply to cloud computing. I'm not going to spend time, but let's go straight to question and answer. Open to the forum for questions.
Sir, actually I want to ask I got the picture. Actually I'm using the cloud. So I always take it as what I'm using right now.
Mhm.
But I never thought of ki what is working for cloud. Matlab, what is I work for cloud? What is exactly that?
Working for cloud.
Matlab, I got the theoretical knowledge,
Uh-huh.
but I never get the ki if I'm want to work in cloud computing, what will I have to do for that? My question is I don't think it is clear.
Sure. And I give you a couple of examples. You want to work in cloud computing, you don't have to join a big company to be working on cloud computing. You could be doing it right now. You could be developing a software application, as I said, and be providing it as a service to people. So there are different things. If you really look at what you want to do from a cloud perspective, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure, depending on the area that you really want to work, then you have to develop those particular skills and capabilities. Other than that, when you're developing those applications, you have to give thought process to saying that I'm not developing it for one customer. I'm developing it for multiple customers. I now need to start looking at my software programming framework and my design framework and saying I have to have security, I have to have common layers, I have to have all of those, and then I have the end GUI interface which I'm providing to my customer. Right? So there's a different shift. Moving from a traditional one-to-one kind of interaction, all of a sudden you are doing it for multiple people, so you have to think about it. Good question. Any other questions?
So like just now you said that there are many risk factors in using the cloud computing, and the major concern for a firm is like for data storage, which is the most important part, and there is data leakage and data is not secure.
Mhm.
So why one should go for cloud computing?
See, that's where you have to really balance it out. As I said, the balancing is between the haves and the have-nots. The organization which essentially has infrastructure, then the organization is only going to, if they already have a brand reputation, they're going to be that much more risk averse to going to the cloud. Whereas if you look at a smaller organization which does not have computers and who really want to have computing technology, that's when they would actually move to that.
So is there any solutions to this cloud computing risk factors?
There are a lot of solutions. It is not that there is no solution for it. There are solutions for it, which is where we do significant amount of consulting, where we provide organizations with the solution in terms of how they can protect their data and how they can appropriately secure their infrastructure. So there are solutions. While these are concerns, there are solutions for them.
Any examples, sir?
For example, security of the data. Security of the data can be very clearly earmarked in terms of where it's being stored and also appropriately controlled in terms of access, and the data can be appropriately labeled and provided to the end user. So that kind of protection can also. So you can take any layer of cloud computing and you can apply significant number of controls to that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, when I was working with iOS, that's platform as a service, I found out that cloud computing can also depend on what type of browser I am using.
Sure.
Then wouldn't be it like any services which I can access in through Chrome. It would there may be design issues if I use IE.
That could be a very good point of considering. That's why I said when you consider your framework, you have to look at your end user base and what are they going to access it from. Is it going to be from iOS? Is it going to be from Android? Is it going to be from any of the other Microsoft kind of platforms? You have to look at all of that. And your software has to be automatically able to detect that and rendition the information on that. Today, if you have your iPhone, and if the provider is saying that I only have an Android platform, you're not going to download that. So, and even there, as you look at these particular lot of solution framework that are being provided, when you create your software, once you create a functional design and once you do your technology design, you can plug it into those particular frameworks, those frameworks will then take care of this renditioning and other issues.
So that means it is platform dependent.